Okay, now here's an incredible figure to me. 7 million in 13 months. That's right. 7 million in 13 months. Now this interview will show you how this guy did it. And actually, see, there's thousands of sites out there now, internet websites that you can go on and they'll help you get money for your idea or whatever. It's all free money, you know, that you don't have to pay back. It's either pre-ordering a product or just a gift to help you get on with your idea and raise money. And this guy went around looking at these sites, and even the big guys, he said, God, see, the big guys will take 7%. You know, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, or whatever. So he was saying, well, he wasn't sure even if this product would fly, but he said, hey, there must be an easier way than dealing with all the big bureaucracies and trying to get money for his idea. So he went to something called, a little site of his own, a place where he could get this stuff on his own site. You know, it's called selfstarter.us, and so that's some software you could put on your own site to raise some money. It's self-starter.us, and he used that, and he got $7 million in 13 months without using any of these big guys or whatever, and just explaining his idea to people, his product. And this is the guy who invented a product. He was out in the garage tinkering, and he went to an entrepreneur school, Babson College, a real cool entrepreneur school up in Boston area. So he's always been tinkering around with ideas and doing something. So he's out in the garage tinkering with ideas, and there's somebody at the doorbell, and he said, gee, now he's missing the dry cleaner, the UPS guy and everything. And he said, gee, wouldn't it be great to have, when the bell rang, I could see who's at the front door on my phone. So he figured out, you know, he kind of just fished around the internet or friends of friends or whatever, figure out how this can be engineered to do. And so he put together a prototype, and then that's where he got $7 million in 13 months. So the important lesson about him, I mean, he talks about what it takes to do this kind of thing, because it really, the bottom line of all this is passion. As he explains, it's a pain in the butt to do anything. You're going to run into roadblocks no matter what you do in life. But if you have passion for it, like he really believed in his product, you know, that's why if you're selling something else and you don't care what it is and you're just trying to make money, that's not passion. You know, because you run into roadblocks, and if you have a roadblock, you go somewhere else where it's easier. But if you have passion for something, whatever roadblock is thrown in front of you, you're gonna get over that. You really want to meet that girl and go out with her or whatever, and she hangs up on the phone 3 times. Well, then you're stalking her at the corner grocery store or whatever, hoping to run into her. You know, that's, I mean, you're always looking for another way to solve the problem when plan A doesn't work, and that's going to happen 1,000 times because life ain't simple. Yeah, and you think, well, I'll just do that, but no, it doesn't. See, that's what he found out too, is that when you put your product or idea on the internet, he got feedback from customers on how to make it better before he made it. That's right, all he had was a prototype. So he's collecting $7 million. He was collecting ideas on how to make it better. Yeah. and see, when people are giving you money for the product, then you know it's real. You go out and do a market survey. Hey, would you buy a green this or whatever that? Man, you know, they're going to please you. That's not a real idea on if that's going to sell or not. You know, but if you, hey, here it is. Will you give me money? I got to go make them. That's real. They give you your credit card. That's a market survey, and that's a true test of if your idea is sellable or not. Don't try to just ask your mother-in-law if they'll buy it. They'll probably never buy it anyway. So you go out and ask the crowd. Well, they put up money, and that's how you could do this nowadays. So watch how he did this. 7 million, 13 months. Well, James Siminoff, man, you must be real proud of yourself and made your parents proud too. I mean, you found all these, people out there on the website having crowdfunding sites, and you said, God, I could do that. And you create your own crowdfunding site, and with your product, though, you raised $7 million in about 13 months? Wow! Don't you love going home and showing off?
Yeah, it's been a wild and crazy and pretty good 13 months. I guess I think
Well, first, show us the product that you invented.
So it's the Doorbot, and it's a doorbell for the smartphone. So it's dual powered. So if it's battery operated. If you don't have an old doorbell, and if you do have an old doorbell, you can actually put the wires to it, and it'll charge and ring your doorbell inside. So it's a doorbell for the smartphones, and now you can see and speak to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world.
Wow! So I could be at Starbucks, screwing off, and somebody UPS guy comes, and they'll ring the doorbell, and I'll see him, and I can tell him, hey, just leave the package. It's okay.
And that happens all the time. I mean, I was in China, and my dry cleaner came from California, and I said, just put it right around the side of the house, and he did, and it was all good. So.
Was that a Chinese laundry or what?
Yes, I know it wasn't. It didn't happen to me, but it would have been ironic if it was.
Yeah, it's a wonderful idea. Now you've been in little gadget business before, more technology, and very successful. But what made you think of this? I mean, are you a family man, homeowner now, or something like that? Is that what?
So I was actually working in my garage, as any inventor should, and we would never see or hear anyone coming to the door. So people visiting, packages, everything, and I literally looked online, and I just figured I'd let me get a doorbell that goes to my phone through the internet, because nothing would reach that far back, and it just didn't exist. And so we decided just put it on the idea list of something that we should do.
That's wonderful. So it's really for an inventor in the garage invented something because he's an inventor in a garage to solve the problem.
It is kind of funny that being in the garage actually it caused the invention to happen. So everyone should put themselves in the garage.
I can see your whole life that way. Well, these airplanes aren't fast enough. I think I'll go home and invent a better one.
Exactly.
But that's the way the system works, isn't it?
I think you got to sort of let it roll a little bit. Sometimes people are too, they box themselves out. They're so frustrated that they want to do something that they don't allow the sort of, you got to allow the world to sort of enter into your brain. And so you got to just sort of travel around, be in places, put yourself in positions where you will come up with something. And it is the best way versus trying to sit around a table and force yourself to think of a good idea, which
right.
Really
I see. Right. Because if you're doing things and something beats you up or something, that's a spark of imagination you wouldn't have had anywhere else. Right.
Yeah. And I continue to look at some of the best products that are out there, and they're all guys that are women or anyone, inventors that needed that for what they were doing or wanted it for what they were doing. And so, I think it's a great way of coming up with ideas.
And that also is, to me, what gives you the motivation to go through all the hurdles that are going to be there. If you don't believe in it and saw it happen your first, it's not like your mother telling you to do something,
Exactly. And you need to have passion in order to do a business. You can't make a business work without passion. And so typically if you come up with something because it was something in your environment, you're probably passionate about it. I'm passionate about solving this problem because it actually was a problem that was affecting me. And so, I'm very passionate about it.
So then the idea of finding an idea is something that you have to relate to physically to have that passion somehow. Because otherwise, at least in my mind, everything you do in life is a pain in the ass, right? You're going to have problems.
Everything's really hard, yeah. If you're not excited about it and have a passion for it, there's just no way. You can't build a company like a job. It's not that, because there's too many times that you hit these walls, and the only way to get through the wall is to be passionate. It's like that energy that just flows right through everything.
No, I believe that in so much too. But even now, when you fundraise, you create your own website to fundraise, and you said there's another place that you create it yourself, but there's other people now you could fundraise on your own site with somebody else's back end stuff instead of sharing 7% with these other fundraising sites, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we created the fundraising site because we thought that might be a good business also.
Right.
As of right now, it has not turned out to be a good business. The doorbell business has turned out to be a great business. And again, that's the business into life is sometimes let the world direct you a little bit. Those inbound sort of feelers that are out there, let that, take you around. And so, but there's Kickstarter and Indiegogo are two great sites to crowdfund on. And if you want to, there's selfstarter.us, which is actually like it's a place that you can literally just do your own thing. You don't have to pay anything for the platform. Totally
Wow.
That
So in other words, like your
the
case,
drawback is there's no one on that. So you have to then
right.
create all of the interest.
But that's what you did. You created all the interest, and you saved yourself what, like $150,000, $200,000 or something like that.
More than that, even, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, and it's not that difficult unless you're really insecure. You want to test one of these other things first.
Yeah.
Well, what other things that would you recommend to somebody who has an idea and geez, what do I do next? All I have an idea. I don't have a prototype or anything. What's the best way would you suggest to somebody?
If it's hardware, I think you have to, you got to really figure out, it's difficult because if it's hardware, you're going to need a lot of money to really build it, depending how complicated the product is. And so the only thing I recommend to people is don't go on a pre-sale site or, a crowdfunding site until you got to invest something to really make sure it's going to work, because there's a lot of carnage in that space where people have put stuff on. Everyone loves it because they put something on that's like awesome, right? Like,
yeah, right.
I want a car that flies also, so everyone buys it. And then you get there and you only have, a couple $100,000, which just sounds like a lot of money, but when you actually go out to build something, it's nothing. Yeah. And you can't build your flying car. Now you have a bunch of people pissed off at you. So, I think the best thing is either start with something really simple. That way you don't really need a prototype, because like, a flower pot, something that's like a cool looking flower pot. Like, you can build it, and you just need to get pre-orders. But if you're doing something like an internet enabled doorbell with Wi-Fi that goes to a cloud service, that goes to mobile apps, you should definitely have at least some engineers around making sure that you're doing this. But without crowdfunding, we would never be where we are. We needed that cash and those customers to get to where we are. So.
Well, that's the other thing. I guess you really got more than cash. I mean, if you went out because you have a good idea and some background, you could have raised maybe the capital to get it done, right? But getting customers to fund it, man, you don't have to hire anybody's girlfriend.
Well, you don't lose any equity, which is great. You get customers, which is always great. You get feedback on the product before you ship it.
Mm-hmm. So you could tweak it and make it better.
And we did. This was originally just a battery operated design, and then we had customers saying to us, "But I want to hook it up to my doorbell." That's a great idea. Let's do that. And then we made it dual power, which we never would have done had we not had that customer feedback. So I think being able to get customer feedback, the value of that, and you can survey random people and do all this sort of stuff, but the best survey is someone gives you their credit card.
Absolutely,
that's the survey you want.
I used to be in a business of doing market studies, and I thought they were all nonsense. Nobody put up money.
They are. I mean, when someone pays you $200, you listen to them.
Yeah. Well, this is a terrific idea. I think you're going to be, selling millions and millions of more. And so we could find it on, what is it? GetDoorbot.com. GetDoorbot.com, right there. Find all about it. And you said an interesting thing about it. They said, because it's an external thing you put on your front door, and it's really very secure, but people are so paranoid about somebody stealing it, the doorbell's thief in your neighborhood, that you will give them an extra free one if anybody steals it, right?
If it's ever stolen, we'll give you a free one. And because for two reasons. One is we want to back up our product.
Right.
It's never going to get stolen because no one's stealing
It's an easy promise because you won't have to keep it.
Problem, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, James. You're a sweet guy.
Nice to talk to you.
Okay, take care. Okay, that's what we need now in this country. We need people taking ideas, creating new ideas. All the old stuff is not working. We need people like you out there creating new ideas, creating new jobs, and getting this country on its path to greatness again. We're slipping behind. Other people are catching up, and maybe they'll pass us, so we got to get in gear again, and you can help.